What's up, guys? Welcome to BitCast, episode 45 for the week of November 26th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts this week, Jake Martin. In the studio this week, we have a BitCast sort of newcomer, Chattanooga's very own Stephen Pippin. Stephen.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jake. It's glad to be back.
Chattanooga's very own. You like how I just tossed that in there?
Yeah, I did.
Can you tell us a little about what that means?
Chattanooga's very own is a company that I work for that allows me to create content and kind of be a bit of a thought leader and an industry leader within my own the industry. And is a way to garner support, financial support from people I know and people that I don't know.
Well, that's a great summation. I appreciate you sharing that. So, for folks who don't know, though, who is Stephen Pippin?
Who is Stephen Pippin? What a question. I don't know. How do I answer that? I don't know. I work. I'm in school right now. I've got a history podcast with only one episode thus far. But Chattanooga's very own is actually unofficially on a hiatus at the moment because we're kind of going through a restructuring, rebranding process.
Right.
So we're working hard. We've got some scripts lined up for future episodes, so we're working on getting everything hammered out before we move forward and kind of get the site cleaned up, get a pure mission and vision statement for what we're working towards. So the website may actually go on private here for a little bit until we're through with the restructuring process.
Nice. Well, hey, thanks for the update, and I'll be sure to have you back on as soon as you guys are live. Get you some publicity out there.
Oh yeah,
all the BitCast listeners. But if you're tuning in today, we're talking about console gaming and PC gaming and how those two kind of stack up against each other. Steven is a PC gamer, and as most of you probably know, I'm a console gamer. And so that'll be a fun discussion, and as always, we'll talk about the news. But first, if you are a listener of the show, go check out iTunes or any podcast service that you listen to us on and leave us a review, or even better, which is really exciting. This show today is actually the main topic. It was brought to us by a listener question, which I'm really excited about. So write in questions to bitcast@bitbloggers.com if you want us to read off your question and have it be part of the show. And then, as always, drink of the show. I have water. Steven, you are sipping on a nice, what is that, Maker's
Mark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And some Brita filtered water. So we're doing things real nice here.
Yeah.
But before we jump into the news segment, Steven, what are you playing if you are playing anything right now?
Man, Overwatch has really, I haven't really gotten away from it since it launched. Mostly Overwatch.
I'm glad you brought up Overwatch because that's going to be one of my main things I talk about.
Good, that's all I know anymore.
Bert also is excited about Overwatch. For me, funnily enough, I'm playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which is just a dumbed-down version of Animal Crossing, and I'll talk about it just for a second on the news segment. And then a lot of Destiny 2. Do you play that at all?
No, is it on PC?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, really? I thought it was an exclusive.
Oh, it's on PC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you should hop on that.
It's
a great time, but it's honestly a lot more fun with more people. So
cool. As soon as I get some extra pocket change from purchases from Chattanooga's very own coming in, which I know they will.
Yeah. Well, and also if you, that's one of the best sides of Chattanooga's very own is if anyone purchases something on there, all the proceeds go to Stephen Pippin.
That's correct.
And you're helping fund any video game purchases in the future he might have.
Yeah, and opportunities to come back with some information for the show as well.
Exactly. So he could go out, do some research, come back, tell us how Destiny 2 actually is on PC.
But only if you guys make a purchase.
That's the only way that's going to happen. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back with a news segment. And we're back. Like that?
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks, man. I get really animated in my face when I do that.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron does not like it.
Yeah?
He hates it.
And Cameron doesn't have to watch it.
He's like, it's just really weird. Yeah, if you're not watching it, you're missing out. Just saying. YouTube.com. They have the podcast there. So for our first news segment, I wanted to talk about this because I briefly mentioned it on the last podcast. GameStop has temporarily paused their unlimited used games program. I don't know if you heard much about this. But essentially, ever since the era of digital and how a lot of people just dislike GameStop because you can buy brand new games for cheaper than what they offer them for, like you can get a Amazon 15% discount on any single game for at least console. I'm not sure if PC's the same way. I'd imagine it would be.
I know I can almost always find stuff cheaper on Amazon. Like when Fallout 4 came out, Amazon was the cheapest avenue to buy it.
Yeah, and Steam also kicks ass with like a lot of like those just sales they have all the time.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So GameStop has been getting clever in how they're trying to keep money coming in and keep people coming into their stores. And this was essentially like a rental service where you could let me read it off here. Which offered customers 6 months of unlimited access to used games. The retail chain told employees yesterday to pull down all signage involving the program and store it in their back rooms, according to 2 GameStop staff. So it's not super clear whether or not they're going to pull it back out or what's going on with it, but I think they had an error where essentially like, okay, this is not going to work out.
Can you explain real quick what the program was? So if you signed up for it, you had access to all of their used games. Did you check them out like a library?
For 60, yeah, that's exactly. So for $60, you'd be able to treat GameStop as a library, taking out one pre-owned game at a time, and after 6 months, you get to keep one. So you literally could just go in anytime you wanted to, like play a game for as long as you wanted to, and then once you were done, bring it back in, get a different one. And depending on how serious of a gamer you are, you could beat a game per week if you wanted to, kind of like back in the day with Blockbuster, where you'd rent a game and just try to beat it as fast as you can.
Yeah, or what I believe Netflix used to do this. Did Netflix do video games? I know there was a bunch of similar stuff where you could.
Redbox has it. I know they do some video games, but their selection has never been very good. Whereas GameStop's sole purpose is video games.
Yeah.
So this was interesting. So stay tuned on whether or not this comes back. I would love to see this because for somebody who wants to be in the know about video games and not spend a lot of money, this is a great option for me. It's like, hey, $60 for 6 months, and I'll just go rent a bunch of games that I think are worth checking out. Now, the caveat here is pre-owned. So how many of those new games are people like going to actually turn in for pre-owned? Maybe some saint out there who like he's doing it for all of us. He's like, I'll buy it and I'll just put it up for pre-owned so you guys can just rent it and check it out. But
yeah, they probably had a lot of No Man's Skies the first week.
Yeah, you can try out this sick game. I don't know. So stay tuned on that. We'll see if we actually get anything. I don't know. The idea is cool to me, but who knows? Up next to another sort of underwhelming experience, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I talked about it just a second ago. This game came out on the 21st, so not too long ago, and I was really excited at first. And I'm playing it, and it's basically just a dumbed down version of Animal Crossing, if you're familiar with that series, where the object is to pimp out your camp and make it look really cool, and your RV. And the way you do that is by just giving a bunch of different animals fruits and shells and fish.
Like we used to.
And that's it. Yeah, just like the good old days when you would just trade in squids that you just freshly caught with a fishing pole. So this game is great, and I love that the microtransaction stuff is like super minimal, but it was, I think, Caitlin Zermino, shout out, she follows this person named something Chrissy Teigen.
Is that John Legend's wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like a pretty avid video gamer, and I kind of was like, I don't know about all this, but she like brought her Switch to like a courtside game where she was watching people play basketball, and I was like, okay, respect there. And then she actually talked about this game, saying like, hey, the game's cool. I spent a lot of money in it already, but it sucks, and I'm deleting it. So kind of like the extreme version of like of how this game is portrayed. But yeah, it's very, very, very blank.
I would almost imagine if you're the type of person to throw money at microtransactions, you might also be the type of person to get very bored very quickly with some of these games.
That is true. No real what's it called? Just you can't really endure. Can't really just stick through it and just finish the game.
Yeah, if you removed low level grinding from all video games and replaced them with microtransactions for the ability to pay a little bit and not have to do it, games would not be the same.
And probably why she's done with it so far.
Yeah.
But I will say she does have a point in the fact that it is pretty slim. Like I was enjoying it for the first like 2 days, and then I was like, oh, this is all you do. I mean, you literally just go fish, go talk to this animal 6 times, and give them all your produce and whatever else, and hopefully you get some cool stuff, and then you build more furniture, and it's just a loop kind of like that. But if you're looking to kill some time, check it out.
How much is it initially?
Free.
Free. Okay.
And I don't know if it's on Android, but that'll be a Stephen Pippin exclusive.
Yeah, we'll see about that if I can get the rights to Animal Crossing.
More like Nintendo news. Time has named the Nintendo Switch the top gadget of 2017. So
impressive.
I just like talking about this stuff because I think, it for me, it just doesn't make sense because I got the Switch on opening day and I didn't, it's been a hard thing to get a hold of. I work with a few parents, and they have all said like, yeah, I'm getting my son this for Christmas, and what game should I get? And I'm like, oh man, it's just weird to hear like so many people actually buying the Switch, whereas when you talked about the Wii U, everyone's like, what is that? The Wii? No, it's a different, it's the same concept.
Yeah, the Wii U did seem like it had far less hype than its predecessor, and the Switch, which came after it. It was just kind of the middle child that just was there.
Just kind of just the ugly stepchild that's just kind of there.
Yeah.
So, sorry to all stepchilds out there. That's just a phrase. I don't actually mean that.
I said middle child for the record.
I heard that saying from somebody, and I like thought about it for a second. I was like, man, that kind of sucks for anybody that it was like redheaded stepchild is the actual saying. I was like, oh, it's kind of messed up though. All the redheaded stepchilds out there.
Yeah, there's got to be, I don't know.
Hey, you know what?
Hundreds of them.
If you're listening to this and you're a redheaded stepchild, this podcast is for
go to
you.
my website and buy a shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Go to his website and then listen to this podcast. But yeah, it's actually set to surpass the number of Wiis sold in the same 10-month period.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because didn't the Wii
we killed it,
smash records?
However, they were severely limited at launch.
Which isn't the Switch going through the same thing?
Yes, but they have produced a lot more units than the Wii. So that it's great. It's like, okay, Nintendo is selling a lot of these, but they've also learned their lesson from the past. Like, oh, if we got to get ahead of this when we know it's like a hot product, and try to meet some sort of demand. Because before they were like, crap, this is all we made, and we can't make any money because we don't have enough out there.
What is the hesitance from one of the largest gaming consoles, and for them to, are they just self-conscious, or is there a method to the madness? Are they just kind of like, I don't know if people are going to like this one, so let's just make like 1,000 and hopefully it'll sell some?
I mean, you kind of hit it on the head that with all those points. They're a bit careful. They don't want to overproduce and be in a situation where they make a crap ton of, let's say Wii U's and no one buys them, right? So they would rather be on the produced side. But it also creates hype when they're underproduced. People are like, oh, they're impossible to find, and like that's what people write about. Like, oh, I can't find one anywhere, and so people just go crazy over it.
I've been most curious and most on the side that it seems like part of that is possibly a marketing tactic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a marketing thing, but Japanese businesses in general tend to be a lot more conservative as well. They're going to go strictly by the numbers and make sure that they're being responsible with how much they produce, and there's just a lot of reporting going on. And because Nintendo is a Japanese company, they're pretty separated from America in that response, in that regard. So that there's a lot of they'll ship a bunch of units, and then kind of see how those all sell in America. And then, they'll get the numbers back eventually and be like, okay, send some more over. Because I don't know. The only way you can really ship units is by sea or air, and that's not cheap either. So
yeah.
They're probably like, let's just kind of just do this in like just little bunches here and there. But nonetheless, great job, Nintendo. Keep doing what you're doing.
Very proud of you.
Big year for them too, just with Zelda and Odyssey both coming out this year. So. But jumping to another fun IP, Star Wars: The Last Jedi is now officially. You've heard of Star Wars, right?
I'm familiar, yes.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi is now officially the longest Star Wars movie ever, but it's not that impressive in comparison. I put the other runtimes of all the other movies, and so it's 2.5 hours long, which is pretty good. We're getting up to like Lord of the Rings, length here, which.
Yeah.
I just found out recently that those were all basically 3-hour films. And they did not feel that long when I was growing up, but I was astounded. Like, it was like, what's the total combined length of all 3 Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's like over 9 hours.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So
They definitely don't feel that long, most of them.
no, they do not. So you can see here, like New Hope, 121 minutes. Empire Strikes Back, 124. The next two closest ones are Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, which were like the newest trilogy. So just, pretty cool. I'm really excited for this movie. Can't wait. But one thing that I can wait on is Battlefront 2.
Yes.
Segue. Unfortunately, Battlefront 2 is just getting a lot of bad press. If you haven't heard, microtransactions are rampant. They pulled basically all of that model down. Disney execs, like who aren't totally a part of EA, kind of made them shut it down. They were like, if you're going to use our property, like we need to make sure that everyone's happy, because they saw the backlash from fans, and they Disney was like, okay, let's pull this for a second and just see if we can fix it.
Maybe we shouldn't be so money hungry.
We pretty much own everything. We can afford to not make as much money on this, I guess. Just another fun thing that they're doing. The game, so there's no microtransactions anymore, but the game, because the way to get all these loot boxes was like just you had to grind out for hours and hours. Somebody eventually was like, hey, you know what? This thing has an auto queue where it just keeps on putting me in matches as long as I'm moving and doing something. So you know it's coming.
Yeah.
So basically, on PS4, and I'm sure any other console you can do this, but they just took rubber bands and stuck them to the joysticks and pushed X or whatever, and it just queues the game up, and it just keeps on loading, and they're just running in circles, dying over and over again, but they're getting experience for doing nothing.
Yeah, I read. I didn't read about it for consoles, but I did on PC. Somebody made a really simple bot that would just make sure their character never timed out or got kicked for inactivity.
Yep.
And just have them kind of like run in circles, and every 10 seconds or so, like fire their weapon.
Oh, okay.
And
So
keep it going.
A little bit of R, just like shooting every now and then or something like that.
Yeah, and the bots are easy to build, and they're virtually undetectable. Like they're not like aim bots, which can be relatively easy to see at times.
What's an aimbot for anybody that doesn't know what an aimbot is?
An aimbot on PC is something that is kind of like aim assist, something that you add to your game that's not supposed to be there. It's cheating that may help your cursor like move towards.
And I'm glad you brought this up, because that's one of our last topic, actually.
Yeah, help your cursor move towards an enemy's head or just towards their body, to where you move towards them a little bit and the cursor
Just
recognizes
locks on,
it and locks on.
Yeah, which is pretty shitty of you to use
It's,
that.
why play video games?
It's like, it's too hard. I want to be good and not lose ever. It's like, well, okay, that doesn't make it fun ever. Actually,
Then go play something with microtransactions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like GTA. Like the idea of GTA is so it's a great game. Everyone regards it as a great game, GTA 5. But for me, what would always happen is I'd play the storyline for a little bit. I get kind of bored, and then I would just start using all the cheats in the game, and the game would immediately become so unfun. It would get so boring because I didn't achieve anything. I'm just like, yep, I got all the vehicles, and I got this helicopter. I'm going to fly it over here and crash into this thing. All right, I'm done. And that's it. That's what happens when you cheat. You just get bored way faster. Hence why she probably dropped Animal Crossing so fast.
Yeah, microtransactions are cheating.
Yeah.
No, they're cheating. It's pay to play.
Sometimes.
Like the Clinton administration, who still lost.
Politics. I don't know if he brought up politics.
Not that I'm glad about that. I'm not taking sides here.
Oh man, I don't have anything to say about politics.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah, we'll have politics only.
We're very knowledgeable on this subject.
Yeah, politics BitCast. So speaking of this, though, I'm really glad you mentioned aimbot. So Epic Games, who are the makers of Fortnite, have you heard of this game?
I haven't.
So it's essentially really.
I think so.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I just read it from the review that you sent me.
The way you smiled about it, I thought you had. I was like, I haven't, but I have heard this. Okay.
I was smiling because I was about to say yes, but only because I just read it in the documents.
Okay. So Fortnite originally started as like a Minecraft-esque survival game where you could play co-op with people, and you would build up a base or a fort, hence the name Fortnite, and you would fight off incoming hordes of zombies or whatever the case was. But then they realized that PUBG had such a massive audience that they're like, let's see if we can just make a game kind of like that, like 100 free-for-all kind of situation. And they did, and it's gotten a lot of traction. So here recently, though, this is not going to help them. A 14-year-old kid is being sued now by them because he cheated in Fortnite with an aimbot specifically. So what
who is suing the kid?
Epic, the developer. So what happened? So they I don't know if they knew the age of this kid, of this user, but yeah, it's a very funny situation. But they saw that he was cheating and a couple other people, and so they're trying to do a cool PR stunt where they're like, "Hey, don't cheat; it ruins the game for everyone." And they are suing a bunch of these people. Unfortunately, one of these people just so happens to be a 14-year-old kid who used to cheat on the game. And the player's mom came out and has just bashed them for all this stuff, and she has like a ton, and she sounds like she's actually super well versed on like this whole situation, like what's going on. Obviously, she would have to be, since she has to defend herself and her son. But she was like, they're just seeing declining sales. They realize that there's not a lot of ways for them to make money anymore off this model, being a free to play and all this kind of stuff. And so now they're just going after anything they can to try and
sue people that play the game.
Yeah. And it's like, instead of suing a 14-year-old who downloaded a cheat for your game, how about you sue the people that made the cheat for your game? And just not a lot of good press.
What are they suing for? What happened to just getting banned from the game?
So Kotaku had this write up, but this is everywhere right now. Let me see. Let's see. She's addressed the court directly through a letter which attacks Epic's handling of the case on a number of grounds. She says that the Fortnite's terms require parental consent from minors and that she never gave this consent. She says the case is based on a loss of profits, but argues that it's a free-to-play video game and that in order to prove a loss, Epic would need to provide a statement certifying that Rogers' cheating directly caused a mass profit loss. She claims that by going after individual players rather than the website selling/providing the software necessary to cheat in online games, Epic is using a 14-year-old child as a scapegoat. She claims that her son did not, as Epic alleged, help create the cheat software, but simply downloaded as a user, and that Epic has no capability of proving any form of modification. But basically, it's just awful. And they released the information of like a minor. Like there's like a whole Delaware law against this. Like you can't release information on a minor to like mass audience. Yeah. So
messed up.
So there's a few lessons to be learned from this. First one, obviously, don't
use aimbots.
Don't use aimbots, because this is, I mean, as a kid, I probably would have done the same thing. As a 14-year-old, I definitely would have downloaded some illegal software. I never have. That doesn't mean I wouldn't, but it's just kind of a poopy thing, and like we said, ruins the experience for everybody. However, he's a teenager. He's a young teenager, so of course, you got to give some kids some slack here and there, and just realize when kids are being idiots. He'll probably learn from this pretty quick, and maybe that's what the whole intent was, just to scare this kid and be like, "Don't ever do this, or we'll sue you." Because that's, I mean, think of like,
are you kidding me? This kid's never gonna play video games again.
Think of like LimeWire and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Remember all those like crazy like cease and desist like things that like would show up sometimes, or like all these stories about like SWAT teams like busting down a door of like somebody who had like over $10,000 worth of music.
Completely off the record, and we can cut this in post. I may or may not have actually received emails from my ISP threatening lawsuits for unsubstantiated, off the record again, illegal downloads of a musician's work.
Yeah, it happens.
It terrified me at first, and then I got information that apparently these get kind of like sent out in heaps because they have evidence of so many people pirating things that they'll just send them out and be like, if you give us $80, we'll let you go.
Just stop doing it, please, or we'll be serious next time. And I think honestly that's what this purpose was of this suing. I think it's more of like a threat to be like, hey, we will sue you, blah, 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 and like maybe this kid will learn his lesson. But unfortunately, the mom was smart and was like, no, we're not going to use my 14-year-old son as a scapegoat for this. Like, this is bad.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know. Just an interesting world we live in. And I think part of the problem was he was also live streaming some of this. And so that's how initially I think it caught attention. Someone was like, oh, what the hell is kids cheating? Or I'm sure somebody on Fortnite could just tell that this kid was just wrecking people, and there's no way he was that good.
I can't believe the hammer came down so hard, because I mean, I play Overwatch, and aimbots are a big thing. Like you can tell when someone's using them.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard of Blizzard suing any children.
Blizzard will just delete their account, or like just basically block their account for a certain amount of time, and if they do it again, then they'll just usually remove their whole account.
Which is what I was getting at. What happened to just getting banned? Now you're getting taken to court.
You're getting taken to court. It's not enough, I guess. Kids can just create new accounts and keep going at it.
Exhibit A, Your Honor. This clip of this kid 360 no scoping.
Yeah, you gotta imagine it's pretty funny. It's like there's no way he's that good at aiming. As you can tell, his movements are almost like a computer, and the way he locks onto this person's head. There's no way. There's no way. He no-scoped across the map. It's impossible.
Those are my closing statements.
Yeah.
Please convict this young man.
Sue him for all the money he has. So that is our short news segment of the week. Not much, but hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. And we will be back with the main topic of the show, which is consoles and PC. Can they live together in harmony? Who knows? I'm here with Stephen Pippin, or as others may know him, Chattanooga's very own.
I just work for them.
Stephen Pippin. See, you say them, and like earlier you said we, working on, like you're a one-man team.
Under the Chattanooga's very own brand.
Oh, gotcha. Under the table.
Yeah, I'm just one man.
You're getting paid under the table to do
Well,
all that work.
It's pretty over the table as soon as somebody makes a purchase.
Just hint for anyone out there listening. Just
Chattanooga'sVeryOwn.com.
They got some cool stuff on there that say dang.
Mm-hmm. Which we're addressing this on the upcoming episode of the Chattanooga History Podcast. But I found the exact same idea. People have stolen my ideas and are selling dang shirts on Amazon.
Oh, no.
Which, yes, very much so.
You should have trademarked sooner.
Well, I trademarked immediately, and they weren't live when I trademarked it. So I don't trust myself for understanding the law.
It's hard to trademark the word dang.
Yeah. I wonder about that as well. But it's the same exact like design, and it's my word now.
That's messed up.
And no
man.
one else.
But someone stole from you.
Yeah. On Amazon.
All right, we'll go after them. We'll sue them, just like Epic's suing a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
It might be a good look for us, anyways.
Yeah, as long as we can get some sales coming in,
publicity out of
then we
that.
can afford the litigation.
Definitely worth it. I'll sell my house to help you out. All right, man.
You don't have to do that.
So this main topic comes by way of a good friend of the show, Stephen Bankson. He wrote in saying, recently, I watched the Overwatch World Cup, which was streaming on Twitch from BlizzCon. Yes, pretty much every single match. And it got me thinking about PC gaming as all of the pro Overwatch players play on PC. It seems like a lot of serious gamers, in quotes, are PC master race or die, especially when it comes to FPS games. Lots of PC gamers will look down on us who choose console over PC, calling us casual gamers, etc. From what I can tell, you play console games exclusively, and I was just curious to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever felt the call to become a PC gamer? Do you consider console gaming more casual? So, Steven, first of all, thank you so much for writing in. Finally, you are the very first BitCast listener topic that I've been wanting to read off for forever. And this is a great topic. This is a great one. And that's why Steven's here, because he's a console gamer. And I have a few questions for you, actually, before we jump into this.
PC gamer, let me correct Jake.
What, did I say console?
You did.
Oh, jeez. I'm already messing this up.
Maybe Stephen Bankson is a console gamer.
So before we jump into this, though, a study taken by the ESA, I don't know what that stands for, in 2015 reported the amount of gamers in the world has reached 1.8 billion. So that was 2015. There's definitely more than that now. With 1.2 billion gamers playing on PC, which is a lot. So that leaves only 0.6 billion, which I don't know the math on that. I'm not very good at math, but in the hundreds of millions play on console. Or in a percentage breakdown, 62% of gamers use a PC while 56% use a console. That math doesn't make as much sense when I look at the 1.2 to 1.8 kind of situation, but we're going to go with it. So, Steven, what is your take on this? I guess my first question for you was, were you a console gamer first?
Yes. I've grown up as a console gamer, Super Nintendo, and then after that was PlayStation for a while. Parents bought us a PlayStation, played a lot of Crash Bandicoot, moved on to the PlayStation 2, and eventually got an Xbox, then an Xbox 360. And then there were several years of my life where I had no ways to game until I could afford a PC. And then I evolved.
College.
Yes.
College happened,
Yeah.
and you just borrowed friends' systems and, just dorm gaming, stuff like that.
Exactly. Minesweeper.
But or all the calculator games you could play.
Yeah. Boxman or whatever.
Yeah, Boxman. That was a great one. So you were a console gamer first, and you switched to PC in what year, if you can recall?
2014 or 15 maybe.
Okay, so it's been more recent.
Yeah.
But you've
not terribly long, but at least a couple of years.
So what made you want to switch? Like what happened where you were like, you know what, I'm gonna play PC games, or I'm gonna try PC games?
Well, I was ready to buy a computer. I wanted a desktop, and bought a PC.
I just wanted a desktop and I bought a PC.
Yeah. The only other option was to buy a PC and a console, and I just didn't buy a console because of the added expense.
So yeah, it serves two purposes. I mean, its primary purpose initially was just you needed a computer.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Desktops are generally a bit easier and cheaper to make and have a lot better specs than buying a laptop or an Apple product.
Exactly. And if you build a PC yourself rather than like a pre-built one, you could save a lot of money and actually have a much higher quality build.
Right.
So yeah, gaming was a big part of it. I did buy it for gaming because I wanted to be able to play video games.
Yeah. You don't want to have a PC and then be like, this is the worst possible build that I could have made. Like, literally can't do anything beyond just surf the internet.
Yeah, they last a long time. So the thing with consoles is you can spend $300 to $500 on a console and then do it again in another 4 or 5 years or so.
Yeah, it seems that a console's life cycle is about 4 years.
Yeah.
The Wii was the only outlier, which was like 9 years or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it had a long life cycle.
Wow.
Of games just being made for it all the time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, shovelware, mainly just garbage, just being tossed onto it. all those motion games.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a great point too. So if someone came to you and said, "Hey, I'm looking to play video games," or like I've been playing console, would you like recommend someone pick up PC, or is there a certain person that you think would be better suited for PC gaming?
There's several questions that come to my mind if somebody has asked me that. Is one, what's your budget?
Yeah.
Because you probably want to go ahead and build a decent PC because you can always upgrade it later.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure you have a solid build so you can do that in the future.
Yeah. It'll last you a while. So you don't have to always be like, upgrade 2 years from now. It's like, crap, my thing sucks now.
Yeah. Internet speeds, like playing online, a lot of the times are a lot better on PC. That's one reason why there's not a lot of cross-platform gameplay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the speeds differ a lot. So I guess when you're playing on your Xbox, the Xbox has to connect through your router and also through Xbox Live and go through a lot of different other stuff to connect to everyone.
Actually get on the server.
Where computers are made to be networks.
Yeah, and this makes sense. I know like a lot of online games do this, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work that happens to make sure that person A who has a fantastic connection and person B who has a shit connection both have like an equal experience in terms of being able to, like it's crazy like what happens on behind the scenes. But basically like it registers like on your console when you push the trigger, and it registers on the other console when they push the trigger, and like the mapping that happened, and basically like speeds this person up or matches this person with the slow person to see, okay, this person would win this situation. And so but the player is seeing it real time.
Yeah,
they're not noticing any like sort of crazy stuff going on behind the scenes. But you always hear people complaining about lag too, like, oh, lag.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job, because if you have a decent internet speed, then it's not gonna be that big of a deal. And I guess like you were saying, they've taken I don't know, some steps to make sure that everything kind of lines up and
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're like on dial-up or something, no one can save you.
The biggest issue I've seen, and I was experiencing with Destiny, is for a while there, my hardwire connection to my PS4 was just jacking up. It was disconnecting all the time, and I was like, this shouldn't be doing that. We had a power outage, so I think something messed up with the wiring. But I was running Wi-Fi, and I was noticing like it was always contacting the servers, and like doing all this stuff to like load. And so the game would just take forever to load and do anything. And then I plugged back into hardwire just to see if it worked, just the LAN, and it was like way faster. So your online multiplayer experience might be the same, but like everything in between sucks because it's trying to load all that stuff just with whatever speed you have. So that might be where you get hit most.
Yeah, makes sense.
So for me, for one of his questions was like, have you felt the call to become a PC gamer lately? And this is interesting you bring this up because like you play PC, and we know a bunch of guys that play PC also. And Matt also, a common co-host on the show. He's played Overwatch at your place a few times on PC, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's so much better. It's just so much easier. Just like aiming and just being able to move is just so much better.
In contrast, I played Overwatch at Matt's house last night on the PlayStation.
On PS4, like, this is terrible.
And granted, I haven't been using a controller in a long time, so that could have something to do with it. But man, aiming, I don't see how anyone is playing this game.
Well, and that's the weird thing is like, I think almost like 9 times out of 10, PC is going to be a better situation for a game experience. The only time I've heard that the consoles or not PC, but even just a joystick or a controller is better is flight simulators, because you have two camera options essentially to be able to like change your reticle and also move the ship into a different direction, so you can like aim this way and like control your ship to go a different way. Yeah. Which is not common. Like I don't play flight simulators. I don't play flying games.
They exist, but I imagine they're not like the top sellers or the most played games on Xbox Live.
And for me, I play a lot of like single player, just story campaign games, Nintendo games, where to me, the only FPS game I play right now is Destiny. And I play Overwatch a little bit, but not that much anymore. So for me, I don't notice, and again, because I'm playing on the same ecosystem, so I'm playing PS4, I don't notice one person just waxing me all the time. But I imagine on PC, if like you were to compare the two, if I tried playing Overwatch on PS4 with somebody who was playing Overwatch on PC, like cross network, I would get wrecked.
I would definitely think so. I think that's almost a guarantee.
I would get a few lucky things in here. Maybe if I was playing like just a junk rat where you don't have to aim that much and you can kind of just click around. Yeah. But it is really interesting. So like, how do you feel about this whole comparison between like console and PC? Like, do you feel like PC is like superior to consoles?
Yeah, I would like at the bottom of it. I do. I don't think anyone can argue that a good PC is not superior to a console. Yeah. Consoles have their pros and cons, and I get really annoyed with the conversation of like console gamers, they're casuals, they're peasants, which they kind of are.
Which they kind of are.
But it's kind of a moot point. Consoles are fantastic. Being able to play in your living room, local multiplayer, and also having friends on the same consoles are a great advantage.
Really changes your experience, yeah.
Console exclusives are great. My biggest beef with a PC is I would love to be able to sit on my couch in my living room and play it.
You can do that. It just takes a lot of weird setup to be able to make that happen.
Yeah,
without latency.
I've tried some of it, and the latency was almost just I didn't even know what I was playing.
Well, and like it's I kind of know what that's like because so PlayStation has this service called I think just PlayStation Now, where you can rent titles, like virtual titles essentially. So I played Shadow of the Colossus and I think like a BioShock game that I had rented essentially. And so what it does is it pings a server where the game is actually downloaded at, and then it just streams that data to your system. So that way you can play it on your TV, but you don't actually have the game physically downloaded onto your system. And the latency was so bad. I think it was like, I forget what game I was playing, but it was just so frustrating. I was like trying to like move around, and like every like joystick motion, like it would happen like it almost felt like a second later. I was like, this is terrible. Like, this is so bad. So I can only imagine what that would be like, trying to like port all of your stuff to to a TV in the living room.
I only did that once. I tried porting Fallout 4 when it came out to my TV, and man, it was
Which makes sense because that's not a game that's like I don't need to have like the best aim and like all this
it's not
FPS.
online.
It's easy, and it was terrible.
I don't know if it was my TV or my setup or something, but yeah, it was.
What game am I playing? This is so bad. Oh, so yeah, I think.
But my main thing is I really don't think there's the argument that an Xbox or PS4 is better than a computer. I don't think that holds any water whatsoever. I mean,
really
I guess
hold
it
up.
depends on your computer, but if we're using kind of like an average decent PC build, consoles or mini PCs or like
Yep.
mini little computers built for your living room for pretty much a single purpose, to
Yep.
be media devices.
Exactly.
So to me, it's a dead-end discussion and a moot point on which can be superior or is. But again, there's advantages to having consoles, like exclusives, and some people just want to be able to play games and sit in their living room, and they
and not have to worry about.
maybe
you
they
know.
already have a laptop or something and don't need a computer for many other reasons. So they're just like, dude, I don't want to
This is
drop
good enough.
$1,000 on a gaming console.
Yeah.
Which I guess my counterpoint would be is if you add up all the money that you've spent on consoles throughout your lifetime, it would probably be more than what your computer would last. But anyway,
Yeah, but then also, I mean, you gotta look at like all the money you're spending on keeping that PC or upgrading the PC
very true.
like more frequently. Because like, yeah, I mean, you can run a PS4. I've had this PS4 since 2012, 13. Yeah, 2013. So 4 years, like you said, like life cycle's 4 years. I imagine we'll see the PS5 sometime pretty soon. But I mean, well, my first one got stolen, so no, I haven't had the first one. I haven't had this the entire time. But it does what I want it to do, which is I think why a lot of people that play console like consoles. Like, look, I plug it in, it plays the game I want it to play, and it works. Like, I don't, a lot of people aren't as tech savvy as others. Most people that play on PC are familiar with how to operate a PC. They can, go into some of the networking. Obviously, you built your own, so you have to have some familiar with that. And like, okay, I know what this does, know what this does. If there's an error that pops up saying I need to install a certain driver, I know exactly what to do with that. Whereas me, if I tried to hop on and like it was telling me I need to install drivers, I could probably do it, but I would get frustrated. Like, damn it, like I just want to play a game.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, it's easier than I thought it was going to be because I was worried about that because I didn't really have much background with PCs or anything. And so I guess in this analogy, consoles would be like Apple or something, and PCs would be what they are, like Windows or whatever.
Else, yeah.
It's kind of just your operating system, and just like if you've never used an iPhone before and you get an iPhone, you're going to probably be confused for a little while.
Yeah.
But the learning curve is pretty small, especially if you're just trying to because you can just Google how do I play video games, and it'll be like,
and the internet's a hell of a place. You can learn how to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Brock was saying I was at second part of this, I asked my brother about this, who built his own PC, and he's super techie, and he was just like, honestly, man, he's like, don't build a PC. He's like, I built mine and I never touch it, which surprised me too. And he said, he's like, the main thing is like all my friends have PS4s. He's like, so when I wanted to go play a game on PC, it was cool for like the first month or two. He's like, but then it was he said, and this is another thing I want to ask about is you said consoles are great for couch co-op and multiplayer, and it's a bit less secluded, whereas PC gaming, generally you're on your own screen. It's one screen and you're close to that screen, so you're kind of it's not really great or conducive for two people to sit behind a computer screen and play games together.
Exactly.
A lot of times it's
that's why console players get accused of being casuals or something. It's because you're comparing console gamers to dirty, isolated, lonely hobbits on their PCs whose maybe a lot of their friends only have consoles.
Yeah.
So their only interactions are with Widowmaker and Winston.
Exactly. Which can be pretty unhealthy sometimes. But I think you make a great point, though. You mentioned this earlier. When you compare the two systems or the technology, PCs are always going to be so much better, in every respect, every regard. But if you're looking at the type of gamer, like, I mean, it's just gaming. It's all it is, and there's different levels of that. So like, you can be a casual gamer and play PC games. You can be a hardcore gamer and play only console games. I think the biggest disparity there is just like, if you really want to be a serious gamer, like pro level, and do all this crazy Overwatch League stuff and all these different PUBG tournaments and stuff, PC is where you're going to get the best competition.
Yeah. Which, to me, again, weird. All these people, I really don't know what the disparity is here. Maybe there's not even that many of them, and they're just a vocal minority.
Yeah.
But anyone accusing console players as being filthy casuals, they're also probably not in the major league video game industry or anything.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing. It's just that they can play Fallout or Oblivion and replace all the NPCs with Thomas the Train or something.
Yeah, that's the other upside of PC. That Xbox is actually getting some of that. The ability to mod games. Yeah. But a lot of the times, these mods do incredible things. Like, you can take a terrible looking game and make it look fantastic.
Yeah, it's nuts.
which is cool to think about, because like, you buy a game on console and that's it. Yeah. Unless they release a patch for it and they fix some stuff and it gets better over time. But that usually takes a while. Like, it's over like 6 months to a year before you see a maybe fully finished game. Like, let's look at like Mass Effect. When that came out, that was a garbage game, and then they've since patched it and fixed it, and it's not as good as everyone hoped it would be, but it's gotten a lot better. But PC, there's already a whole community out there that knows this code. They can go in the back end and just create a mod for it, and you can download that mod the next day.
Somebody just does this for free.
And it gets fixed. And you're like, wow, this game is way better now.
They somehow create something that makes Fallout look like real life, and they do it for free.
Even like Skyrim, like a super old game, like there's still mods being made for that game.
Yeah.
And it's like, the game looks incredible if you have the right mods on, all this kind of stuff. You can do all kinds of cool add-ons, like Thomas the Train Dragons, stuff like that.
It's not the mods that make games better that really interest me. It's the ones that make them so nonsensical.
Just like breaks the game. It's like, okay, this is supposed to be like a serious, scary game, and there's a train engine.
Yeah,
chasing me down right now.
You can make your avatar in Oblivion look like Goku, and you can even change the entire world to look like 3D Super Mario Bros.
Yep. Well, and let's also talk about like the testing grounds. A lot of games that get ported to consoles come from PC. Like Rocket League, Nidhogg, Towerfall Ascension, Brawlout, like all these like really, really cool indie titles. They started on Steam Greenlight, and people are like, this is an awesome game. This is great. They gain traction. They make money. They build betas, like all this kind of stuff. They finally make a final product of the game on PC, and it's super popular. And then consoles are like, yeah, we want that too. And they can buy it, or maybe the developer's like, let's just get this to everywhere. Anyone we can get it to, because we'll just make more money doing it. Yeah. So it's a lot better of a place to get on the ground level and play awesome games. Like, anytime I see a really cool indie game that people are talking about, like Brawlout, like it's a Smash Bros clone, I'm like, oh man, I would love to play that.
Yeah,
I want to check that out, but I can't because I'm on PC.
Yeah, that is one of the great things. PCs are much more friendly to developers
because there's a bit. I mean, Steam's gotten better about this, but there's less of a gate.
Yeah.
Consoles have to. Developers like Microsoft, Sony, they have to be, and Nintendo have to be a bit more selective with what they put on there, because it costs money to get it all on there, and they don't want to, weaken their brand with like bad titles. Which ultimately, if people are wanting to give you money to put their game on their system, they're going to do it. I mean,
which is what I love about PC. It's just a free market. You don't have anyone deciding whether this game is good or not, except for the consumers.
Yeah, just trash gets put on there and people play it. Like, that's how like terrible games also get some press. Like PewDiePie for a long time was doing that, where he would just play garbage games all the time, and like they would get some traction because somebody was playing it and like, oh, this is ridiculous, but we're playing it.
Donkey does that in his videos too, and it's so funny, man. And at least the nice thing is, a lot of these trash games that are out there, they're not coming out at $60 for a title. They're
it's usually free or like nothing.
Free or like $2.99 at full price, and then you get a Steam sale and they're paying you to download it.
Please just try this game. Just try it. Just check it out. See what's going on.
Where it seems like with consoles, they there can be oversaturation there if you're
Mhm.
putting out shitty titles.
Oh yeah,
Like you were saying with the Wii, eventually it was just a
shovelware,
yeah.
just trash because Nintendo realized. Well, I don't know if Nintendo realized, but they could only do so much. Like the third party support wasn't there yet, and so they had to either make their own IP, which took a long time because they only make good stuff usually, and then everything else was like, if you want to make games for this, go for it. It has to have these sort of restrictions, but that's about it. So you got just a bunch of terrible like party games, gimmicky like shovelware games. It's called shovelware, I think, because literally like it's just like you're shoveling just crap onto it, and it just doesn't work very well half the time. You'll get that on PC. You'll get that on consoles too. I mean, less so on consoles. I feel like when I go to the eShops or like any of the stuff in there, I'm like, never heard of this game, but
PC to me is kind of expected. It's easier to sift through. You know it's going to be there. It's a lot more annoying when you like boot up your PlayStation or something and like you're looking at some rave new games on the front page of your media device.
I
And
don't think this is even good. I don't know what's going on here.
yeah, exactly. And you realize like they've just spent time marketing something to you that's bullshit.
Yeah, you don't want. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Steam is a lot better with their community, like and how they present games. Like they're very open and candid. It's like you'll know if a game sucks very very quickly. It's like this is a terrible terrible game.
And it makes it also fun for there to kind of be a lot of shitty games out there because a lot of the shitty games aren't necessarily like cash grabs. They're just like broken, weird, bad games.
This is an experiment. I just wanted to try it. One of the games that the Switch is getting that was on PC that looks really cool. I forget what it's called. It wasn't titled this when it was on PC, but it's a game where you shoot other players and like their body part grows or gets smaller. It looks really neat. So essentially, like it's an arena shooter, and so if I shot your character in the leg, your leg would start growing. Or it would start shrinking and my leg would start growing. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I would shrink your leg and mine would start getting huge.
Oh, okay.
And that's like, it applies to all your like different body parts. I think it's like head, torso, arms, legs. And so you'll have these like giant players that have like obviously been shooting everyone and doing really well. And then you'll have these little tiny guys that are like running around trying to like not get hit. And based on how big you are, like different things change. Like if you're small, I think you're really quick. But if you're big, you can like jump really high or something like that.
Do more damage.
You can do a lot more, yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems really interesting, but that was a PC game first, and Nintendo actually got the go on that one. So I don't know. I mean, just from a standpoint of experimentation and stuff that's available to you, and everyone's like, "Well, I like playing with the controller." It's like you can plug in an Xbox 360 controller, which is what a lot of people use.
Which is what I did at first when I built my PC. And then one of my drivers crashed, and I just decided not to fix it. And I was playing online with some friends, and they were just like, "Dude, just use your mouse and keyboard. Just do it.
It's way better, I promise."
Fine, and then never went back. Yeah.
The thing I think I would have the hardest time adjusting to is like the keys, using the keys to like move. It just feels so restrictive.
It does. It's really weird. And
up, down, left, right. But you get so used to it, I guess, because like you can kind of mash multiple at a time, and it makes sense.
It takes time. Like it does take time. The mouse and keyboard weren't immediately. It wasn't like a coming to Jesus moment or anything where I was just like everything makes sense. Yeah.
Well, and there's so many different like hotkeys and different commands that you can tie to a keyboard that I see people do. So like, there's like a lot of like shortcuts you can program, but like that's where I would get overwhelmed with like all the keys. I mean, you have so many keys on a keyboard. It's like every single key could do something in this game.
Yeah, you don't need to get overwhelmed. You don't need to think like that. Just certain keys do certain things.
Up, down, left, right, aim, shoot, grenade, something else, and that's about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess closing this out, would you consider console gaming to be, maybe talk about this a little bit, but like more casual, more open?
I guess so. I'm not sure where we're comparing casuals here. Because what's the difference between somebody who plays?
I'm just saying casual. Would you say console gaming is more casual as a whole?
I think gaming is casual, dog. Like gaming is casual at its heart, where it came from. Like,
right.
Didn't matter what your score was on Super Mario Bros. 2 or something back in the day.
Some people did.
But like you could be really serious about it, but at the end of the day, you're sitting on your couch playing a game. That's pretty casual.
Yeah. You got to think about what a game is made to do. Like a game is not, I mean, at its core, like you're saying, a game is designed for many different reasons. But the main thing is like for fun. Like games are designed for fun, and for one person, fun could just be just dicking around, having a fun time, and just doing some cool things in a game. Or another person who's hyper competitive, fun for him would be like getting really good at a certain game and just wrecking people online. It's different for each person.
I think the only argument that holds any weight to consoles being casual is just the fact that you can aim a lot better, you can aim more quickly and a lot more accurately with mouse keyboard. So I guess the only argument there is that just like if you're a real dope ass serious gamer, you need to have a mouse and keyboard. But
serious gamer. And you have to have the right mouse and keyboard too, because you can't just have no generic Logitech mouse. You got to have like the top of the top. All right, you got to have the best. Steven, come on, man.
I don't have the money for mechanical keyboards and all that.
People need to know like that you're a serious gamer. Okay,
I'm a serious gamer.
Serious, man. What time are we at? Oh, we're at an hour. Oh my bless. So anything else really you want to cover on this I think we covered all the bases. Let me just make sure I got everything else here. We talked about the positives, all the stuff about it. Negatives, just a few in terms of sometimes like negatives for PC. I think the only thing would be obviously the whole hurdle of just getting your PC set up first. Like that can be a little bit intimidating, but it's like you said, not that bad.
Price and barrier to entry.
And then just kind of just learning like what that whole ecosystem looks like, learning, when you need to update drivers and all that kind of stuff. But really, beyond that, I think not a lot of negatives.
It's not even that difficult. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but pretty much the most part, once you get it up and running, you'll just have something that says like, you need to update this driver. Click OK to do it. It's
less open. It's less, welcoming to anybody that would want to come over. It's a bit harder to like have your friend play with you on PC. So more single player. And this doesn't really count because none of the other games are like this, but like it's not mobile. It's not very easy to take your PC with you.
A lot easier to take your Xbox somewhere.
Yeah. Xbox, PS4, and the Switch obviously is its own category because it's kind of meant to go on the go. But it's easier just to take out the few cords that are plugged into your system and take them on the go. Yeah. Like,
I really do miss local multiplayer games, and it seems like they're dying and like maybe never coming back. Because even with the Xbox and PS4, a lot of if you want to play with your friends, they need to be at their house on their own console.
Yeah, no, a ton of. And it makes sense from a business standpoint. It's like we want to make sure that as many people buy our console. How are we going to do that? Well, let's just make sure all these games are multiplayer, but their friends have to have their own game and their own system to play with you.
Yeah.
Which, I think Nintendo has stayed faithful to split screen. They always kind of have had that locked down. And I've seen a few good PS4 split screen games come out or local couch co-op stuff like that. But as a whole, I do see a downward trend in local multiplayer stuff like Rocket League. A few of those indie titles like Brawl Out and
Blizzard. If you're listening, all I want in 2018 is local multiplayer so I can play Overwatch with my friends in person.
That would be honestly super great, but I do understand why they don't. Because
Jake, don't.
They did it with Call of Duty, so it's not like it can't be done. Like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and all those other games, they had 4-player split screen where you could queue up in a game and just play against your friends. But that would be about it. Like,
I wonder if one of the biggest difficulties is the quality of the graphics and just
rendering
that in each different. Yeah.
That even with Rocket League, like if you go from 2 people playing, it still stays at 60, and I think maybe 1080, but then it immediately drops to 720 and 30 once you bring another person on.
Yeah.
Which I noticed. I was like, oh, this looks way worse.
That's even crazy just for Rocket League, because Rocket League doesn't have like...
It's not a graphically intensive
It's not something
game.
you play for the graphics,
Yeah. And you don't care, I don't care, because it is fun playing split screen with your friends. But, it can be done. I think it can be done. But the biggest hurdle, I think, there might also be... It's not really like every player is different. And you play Overwatch mainly to be an asset to your team. Whereas, so you're saying like play you and Matt are at your house and you want to play just 2-player split screen online.
Yeah. Me
cool.
and him are in a group and we join a team. The same way that like you and your friends on your PC, you join a group with each other and then join a game.
But you're playing on the same TV.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think that, I mean, that could be easily done. I was thinking more in terms of like split screen versus. So it's like Overwatch isn't a really good like free for all game.
No, not at all.
Like there's like probably one or two standout characters that everyone would play as, like, you know, Roadhog or something like that.
Yeah, there are some free for all stuff they've launched in the arcade. And it can be kind of fun. It's just not the same game, and that's just not what the game is made for.
It wasn't designed to be, you know, against everybody else.
You can't really do like Halo Slayer mode
because you can't. Yeah, it's you know, with those you could customize your character and you had equal access to the guns that you wanted to have. Whereas Overwatch, like, well, I'm just stuck with Winston and this is terrible.
If it's a free for all, nobody's picking Mercy.
Yeah. So that will be also a hurdle, I guess. But yeah, so hopefully, Steven, that answered some of your questions. This was a great topic. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, we talked for over an hour. Didn't even realize we were going that long. I tried to hit 45 minutes, and we did not hit that. But unfortunately, that is the end of our show. Remember, BitCast is a sort of weekly podcast that posts every Tuesday and covers most things video games and pop culture. Steven, thanks for hopping on the show, sir.
Glad to be here, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you at?
Living on the South Side.
Chattanooga's very own.
Just go over to the South Side and look around for me.
You'll find them out there in the South Side. Remember, go to bitbloggist.com to find all of our recent content up there. I'll upload the video and the audio of this podcast at the same time, usually on Tuesdays, but holidays and me being lazy kind of mess that up sometimes. Be sure to follow BitBloggist on Twitter or Instagram just to see kind of what we're posting there. And remember to send your topic suggestions or anything else related to BitCast at bitbloggist.com to be a part of the show. Until next time, this has been BitCast. Thanks for tuning in to talk about some stuff.